Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. When it comes to old Torbjorn and new Torbjorn, I think the best person to ask about how good the rework is will be Fuey500. Not only has Fuey accumulated a lot of hours in competitive playing Torbjorn, but also has been playing a lot of him on the PTR, so he wanted to highlight how good the change is, and specifically how one thing for Torbjorn will make him a set above some other characters for sure. You can find all of Fuey's details in the description below, but let's get started. So we'll start with introductions first. Fuey, who you are, why should people listen to you about Torbjorn, but also why should people listen to you about Torbjorn on the PTR with this rework?
Hi, I'm Fuey500. I am a Twitch streamer on Twitch TV. I have over 1,400 hours on Torbjorn in competitive and quick play, majority competitive. I've at least hit top 500 every single season except for one where I wasn't able to play half of the season. And I've been playing PTR very recently. I've probably accumulated at least, I would guess, around 15 hours or so of just PTR gameplay.
So we'll go straight on to that. The new Torbjorn, how would you rate him? What do you like overall? As just a sort of introduction to it, positive or negative changes overall? What do you think?
Overall, I would say he is a much better character. He's not near the overpowered spectrum, and he's not near like the mid-tier spectrum. He's kind of somewhere in the middle, so like a relatively high tier. He is a definite improvement over the old Torbjorn. I would say overall all of his abilities feel really nice. His gun feels really nice, except I do have a minor issue with the alt fire feeling a little bit different.
And you sort of mentioned there that he wasn't too OP. A lot of people said for the new Symmetra that she was really good, and now I guess people are just sort of looking at it as it was an okay rework. It didn't really do as much as people hoped. Do you sense that Torbjorn's going to go down the same route with this, or do you feel that it's actually going to impact him and the game quite a lot?
I think Torbjorn is actually, like when it came to the Symmetra rework, it's kind of like that initial, oh man, this character's changed, this is great, this character's really strong. You're all playing in like a PTR environment. Things definitely change when it hits to the competitive scene and all of that. But with Torb, I actually think because he started out kind of low tier, he's definitely down there. He's been there for a while. He hasn't been changed for I think 2 years or so. He's definitely gotten a good enough buff to make his character better. It is nowhere near like insanity tier. I wasn't feeling like this super powerful character on PTR. I did feel better though, which is my main thing. It didn't feel crazy.
Well, that's a racist question. What do you feel that you were better at? Were you having, first point on Nirvana, for example, somewhere that Torbjorn is fairly good? Were you full holding people more? Were you just a lot better over different map types? You play Torbjorn effectively all of the time, so you know when Torbjorn is good and bad. Was that less decisive, I guess?
So one thing that felt really good now is the smoothness of playing the character on attack, which is a huge issue that Blizzard had, but it feels really nice. You're not wasting a lot of time to try and build in the back line, to try and get up a turret that gets spammed down. Now you can kind of just run around, throw the turret, play aggressive, and do your thing. So it helps him out a lot on attack. It helps him out a lot on King of the Hill. On defense, I didn't really notice too much of a difference, but it definitely helps to be able to have some free time to position yourself instead of taking that time to position the turret, because you have to walk all the way around and you have to set it up. Because previously, it was 5 seconds of your time being wasted towards hammering the turret, upgrading the turret, and that could have increased if they shot the turret for a pellet. But now you can just toss it out. If you want, you can destroy it whenever you need to. You can run around. And one thing I definitely noticed as well is that the other Torb players on the PTR, like most of the time I would see Torbs that would just hammer the turret and sit there. But a lot of them actually felt proactive. They were actually running around. They were killing people. They were actually being active in the game, which is some huge change that felt really good, because you could be active now. With Overload, you have a little steroid to run around to kill people, which is really good. You have the turret being just a throwable one now that deploys itself. The ult felt really well. Just everything felt really good.
There are some things that people are already claiming. For example, that new Torbjorn's ultimate is going to be really good against like Goat's comp, the whole Brigitte, lots of armored targets because the ultimate can easily rip through it. You can't really test it because Reinhardt is not on the PTR at all. But from your perspective, at least with these changes, do you feel that that could be true? That you feel that Torbjorn's the answer to this very meta composition?
So, the armor I notice and the ultimate in general would actually shred people if they started touching it. One thing that was really good was killing squishies. So what I liked to do on the PTR when I was messing with it is I would kind of ult around them. I would kind of just close off of their exits. I think it's a really good zoning tool. The main issue I would come with goats, right, is that generally they're very fast. So this would be good for kind of stalling their push, or forcing them to take some sort of damage, or even comboing with like a Zarya Graviton as a discount version of like Hanzo Dragon combo. So I think it'll be alright against goats. The one thing is that it is kind of easily avoidable unless you're on like some very choke heavy maps. So it'll be a weird one that I think needs to be tested in comp. I didn't really get to play against Ryan's because he's disabled. Bridget's weren't really being played either because I think everybody wants to test all the new changes for all the other heroes, such as Pharah
nobody was taking
and
it
Orisa.
seriously.
Yeah, like there was a lot of Orisas. So I mean, I played against the Orisas. They were doing their shield actually does block the molten splooge that kind of comes out. So it's kind of hard to tell how a Rhine comp would work because the Rhine might just block all of it when he's moving forward, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I guess with speaking of the ultimate, really, is that the biggest change for Torbjorn, would you say? Because he's had a lot of stuff shifted around. The abilities and his right click, left click all changed. What's the more important or surprising aspect of his play now? What do you think really needs highlighting out of everything?
So, out of everything, even though the ult is really cool, it's very unique, I actually love it, I think the biggest change for Torb that's going to help him out a lot is Overload. Overload, which is his old ult, being turned into a basic ability and giving him movement speed allows him so many options for playstyles. It allows you to use it for flanking. If you want to flank, get a pick, run in, run out. It allows easy engages, easy disengages. It allows you to actually duel some characters that previously you might have had a decently hard time against. Like I was kind of using Overload for the increased attack speed at more shots at characters like Pharah because that combined with the current primary fire changes of increased attack speed and the turret focuses whoever you hit, it really works very, very well together. It all connects, and it's really, really great. Overload as an entire ability, it actually feels like the biggest change to the character. Mainly, one thing is just giving him that movement option in a game where almost every character now has some form of movement. Hanzo has his jump, Genji has his dash, D.Va has her flight, Hammond is an entire character based around movement. Now Torbjorn, one of the slower characters, he has his own little movement option. So, say a problem character like Doomfist, he starts diving you, now you kind of have this little movement to actually run away. And you get a little HP buff on top of that as well. So it allows you to duel people like that. It allows you so many new options that weren't previously available because they were tied to the ultimate. Because I used to use the ultimate kind of as an option to duel people. But now you can use it for basically everything. You can use it for all of the stuff I previously mentioned.
Torbjorn is now in a long list of heroes that have been reworked and effectively had their ultimates changed to their ease. One of which was Mercy, we all know how that went. The other was effectively Symmetra. Where does Torbjorn lie with that? Do you think that it's really, really strong in the same sort of style as Mercy? Whether it's just okay to have on your side like Symmetra, or somewhere in between? Because you seem to think that it is really good, a bit underrated maybe in comparison to his ultimate, but it's not too strong, is it?
I think it's a decent middle ground. Because one thing is, it is definitely, compared to other characters, maybe a more overloaded ability. for Overload because it gives you that HP increase, it gives you the attack speed, it gives you the reload buff, it gives you the movement speed. It has so much in it. It is a very good steroid, but right after it ends, you're back to normal. So I think it's relatively fair because it goes on the 12-second cooldown. That is a decently long time. Mercy, right? Mercy Resurrect it's 30 seconds, but it brings someone back from the dead. That's overall saving the time from their walk, the time from their resurrect. That's relatively good. Symmetra Teleporter. That can teleport a team from one spot to the other. That is a very good teamwork ability. Overload is a very good Torbjorn specific ability. So it is very good for the character. You're not going to see him just absolutely demolish teams using Overload, but you could see some cool combos. You could see some like nano mini core. I was having some friends actually do that, and I was able to tap people very, very fast. It's kind of like a discount version of Genji Blade. It's a very good ability if you use it perfectly in the time frame that you're given. It's kind of skill based, right? It's almost all tied to your aim. No longer does it make the turret level 3. So it's all tied to the player. And I could see some high-level players doing really good with it, but I could see it in general ladder usage just being an average ability. Because he still dies pretty fast. He still only gets, I think it's like 350 HP in total. So he's not like I used to use old Molten Core to duel hogs. Now if I were to do that with Overload, I would probably die just because it's not that big of an HP increase.
One thing that I did want to ask, are there any things about the changes, because there's been a lot of them, that you dislike or you think is a negative kind of nerf?
So overall, I think the changes have been incredible. Even though a lot of people are going to miss scrap and armor, I think that was bad design for a long-ranged hero that generally isn't going to be that close to the fight to get the armor from his allies or enemies. One big issue that I've kind of personally encountered is the secondary fire. I don't know specifically why, but it feels very bad. Even though it overall got buffed, I think a combination of the damage reduction on it, and a lot of people, like viewers, were saying that they changed the pattern from a circle to a star. So even if it's more consistent, I just felt like I wasn't able to kill anyone with it, unless I was very, very close. It is a better shield breaking option than your primary fire, but when it came to killing players, it felt really bad compared to the current version of it, even though the current version is also kind of bad.
Can you throw us a tip on playing new Torbjorn that you feel people should be doing?
So one tip that I definitely think people need to do is they need to not think of him as the old Torb. He's not the old Torb where you're going to be hammering the turret around. This new Torb, you're going to be trying to be active. You're going to move around, you're going to toss turrets, you're going to go and shoot people. You're going to try and use him similar to other DPS now. He'd be similar to a McCree. You're going to try and go for those headshots. You're going to try and just toss a turret down, maybe because of the new long cooldown, which is personally kind of awkward. You're going to want to try and put it maybe in your backline, help defend your team. Maybe you want to put it with your shields more because you can throw it and you don't have to waste that time. So I think people just need to experiment around. They need to try and be more active as players versus the old Torbjorn lifestyle where you might have just been sitting back with the turret the entire time, just clanking on it, repairing it, and maybe using that as a defense, because now Torb has a lot of power put into his character and his kit that he can actually do things without feeling relatively weak.
I guess finally then, any final thoughts that you want to say on Torbjorn, and also where can people no doubt find you playing the new Torbjorn, and no doubt bringing him into competitive play when he becomes available?
So I don't really have any final thoughts. I do think overall the rework was a huge success, and I hope to see some promising results in competitive play from me and other players and in the Overwatch League. But you guys can find me at twitch.tv/Fuey500. I stream almost every day. And yeah, that's kind of it.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. As I said, you can check out all of Fuey's stuff in the description below. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments too. Like and subscribe and all that jazz. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time.